Welcome to the In Love with PMDD podcast. I am your host, Dr. Rose, your PMDD relationship psychotraumatologist, and I help you stop the monthly PMDD breakups. PMDD is premenstrual dysphoric disorder. It is in approximately 1 in 5 women, and it makes you want to break up with your partner approximately 1 to 2 weeks before your period every single month. So as someone who has suffered with PMDD for over 18 years, I dedicated my doctorate practice to helping partners navigate those monthly PMDD breakups with everything from attachment styles, triggers, sensitivity to noise, sensitivity to touch, all of the things that you really struggle with when you're in PMDD. And I also dedicated my dissertation to a phenomenological study of the relationship experiences of partners of individuals who suffer with premenstrual dysphoric disorder. So I'm not just here to help the sufferer, the one who is suffering with PMDD. I am here for the partners as well. So if you need those private sessions, make sure you go to inlovewithpmdd.com and get those tools. So let's get into this week's PMDD trauma transformational tools that is going to help you stop the monthly breakups and stop the suffering and stress in your PMDD relationship. Let's get into it. Today, we are going to be talking about the magic pill for your PMDD relationship. I know this is something that we're all looking for. We're all searching for. Just give me a pill, give me something, give me anything that I can take to really get rid of my PMDD symptoms in a way that it doesn't affect my PMDD relationship. And I have a tool for you today that a lot of you are not going to know that's a tool that you've had accessible for you for so long, and it's completely free, but I'm going to give you this tool so that you can start to implement it in your PMDD relationship. And I know that it is actually also something that you're avoiding, but because you're not understanding the power that it has. And so I'm going to get into that today. But first, I need to let you know how I got to exploring, understanding that this tool actually works. So I was supposed to go to, or I did go to a conference. And I do speaking engagements a lot all over the world. Some is about PMDD, some is about traumatology. That's what my doctorate is in. I'm all about spreading the word about PMDD Partners. So the basis of me going on these speaking engagements is trauma. Right? Everyone knows about trauma, but not everybody knows about PMDD. So if I go to these conferences and I'm speaking about trauma and I add in PMDD, then I'm giving access to all of these medical professionals, these counselors, coaches, therapists, psychotherapists to learn about PMDD with the umbrella of trauma. Because if you advertise to any mental health professional that, oh, this person is speaking on trauma, they're like, oh yeah, I totally want to go. If I was to do something and I'm saying, hey, I want to speak on PMDD, no one knows what that is, and I would never get through the door. So I am using what my degree is going to be in, and I'm actually I'm in the final stages of it, and it's almost surreal because this has been a 5-year journey because I switched my PMDD from childhood trauma to PMDD. So I've done extra coursework, all the things, studies, to get to this point. But I believe this year, 2023, I will have my doctorate. I will be a PMDD doctor. And it's not so much about the title for me because I've literally been doing the work this whole time, but it's more so about now I'm going to start really publishing literature for psychotherapists, therapists, counselors, coaches to really have the tools to utilize. And I had a colleague of mine who's a doctor, and they're like, oh my gosh, why would you they're like, why would you do that? Why would you publish literature that's, like taking clientele away from you? And I'm like, it's not about me having the clientele. It's about them getting the resources, PMDD Partners getting the resources that they need. And I want them to be able to walk into their clinic, walk into their doctor's office, walk into the therapist's office, and they actually know what PMDD is. So this is not selfish for me at all in a way of being like, I want to be the only PMDD, expert. But what I will say is having the disorder And being in a relationship is more than any credential could have ever given me. So a lot of the insight, a lot of the tools that I've given you has literally been because I have PMDD, because I am still experiencing it on a monthly basis, and because I am in an intimate relationship, and that's organic to me. So there is not anyone else that can have that kind of experience and have it relay as much. So I'm not in that space of trying to, like, I've never been a person to hoard information. I want the information to get out there. I just want accurate information. Like, I don't want whoever you go to be like lying to you or telling you that you're bipolar or telling you that you just have PMS or telling you some BS that is going to make you feel like you're absolutely crazy and no one understands you. Like, that is what I'm standing against. I will not have any of my PMDD partners doing any of that. So as soon as you come to me, I'm going to give you the real raw truth, the real raw tools that actually work. And a lot of those real raw tools, which are my PMDD trauma transformational tools, come from my real relationship. And that is what works. And what has worked with my private clients, that is what really works. Like, me getting to know you and what is going on in your personal relationship and being able to provide tools, that's what's going to work. Not anything that I've read actually in the textbook, actually. Like, I'm not going to lie. I've gone in there and I'm like, okay, let me find something. There's nothing really in there that is cookie cutter to what PMDD is. And I'm going to change that. Once I finish my doctorate, I'm going to write my book. I'm going to write my manuals. I'm going to do all the things, but I just need to get over this hurdle of actually finishing the degree, which I'm so close to. I had my dissertation proposal defense that I passed. I passed that in January, on January the 21st. I will do a whole nother episode on everything that happened with that, because that was a whole battle. And it made me question whether I should be doing this, because it's been so hard for me. Like, no one's ever said, oh, because you're doing something new, like, we're going to make it super easy for you and open up the red carpet. It's almost harder than if I would have just gotten my doctorate in, like, childhood trauma, which so many other people have researched. So I could have just piggybacked off of what they're doing, but someone's going to piggyback off of me. And that's what I've like settled with. Like, I'm going to be the founder of this, and I want other people to say, okay, now that she's solidified this, like, now we're going to go and we're going to piggyback off of that and do future research, and we're going to really examine this. And this must really be a thing if this individual got their whole doctorate dedicated to PMDD Partners. That's the kind of conviction that I want these medical professionals to see, because what I will tell you, and this is completely off topic from the podcast, or from this episode, is when doctors, therapists, counselors, coaches, all the things are looking to diagnose you, to help you with something, they need to know that it's valid. And their way of knowing that it's valid is, has it been researched? Has it been tested again and again and again? Has that testing been validated by the appropriate licensures? Like, not just my opinion. Everything that I do in my doctorate study, I can do it all day long. It has to be retested by the individuals that are going to grant me my doctorate. So it has to go through many, many, many approvals. And that process is a lot. I'm just going to say it's a lot. And because you're consistently proving yourself. But I feel like having PMDD gives me the energy, the conviction to continue to fight for this, because there's not a month that has gone by in these 5 years, in these 15 years, that I haven't had to fight through PMDD. So if I'm fighting through PMDD every single month, I'm definitely going to fight to get it in the literature. So that's my little disclaimer that I am so close to being done. And once I do, game on. Medical professionals, community, all the things, and also writing my book. I've actually detoured from writing the book that I want to write. And everyone said, like, even my private clients are like, I can't wait for your book to come out. I can't wait. But I need to make sure that I get my doctorate done first. I have a way of focusing my attention on all these other places. And I always feel pulled. I need to do this. I need to do this, but this is something I need to finish first. And I made that commitment to myself when 2023 started. I'm like, I could write my book, and I could. And I could release it, within 3 months. I could be done. But then my doctorate would be on the back burner. And so I just wanted to get out there so I can start talking to the actual medical professionals that are in your area, because in case you haven't heard prior episodes, the In Love with PMDD podcast is now streaming in 54 countries, 54 nations. It may be more than that. That was as of January. It's now February, and by the time this is released, it'll be March. But the latest update that I had was 54 countries. That's a lot of languages. That's a lot of time zones. That's a lot of doctors and therapists and all these things that are not aware in their area, because I'm hearing everything from all 54 countries that no one in their area knows about this. I'm talking Nigeria. I'm talking Ireland. I'm talking Dublin. I'm talking Australia. I'm talking New Zealand. I'm talking everywhere. London, UK. You guys are amazing. Like, you're like on it. And then the US, which is where I started. So I am very humbled by how many PMDD partners I've been able to reach. And I really am committed to finishing this journey for you, not for me, because nothing more is going to happen for me other than I'm going to reach this accomplishment and be able to continue to serve. I'm here to serve you. And I really think it's really important, because I want you to know how real PMDD is. I want you to know not only that you know what PMDD is, but like the world knows. I want you to stop this feeling of thinking like no one understands, right? It's like, it's so frustrating to feel it in your body and your mind, and it impact you as much as it does. And then someone tell you, are you sure it's not bipolar? Are you sure it's not a glorified PMS? Are you sure? Like, that for me was crushing. Because I felt so not seen, not heard, not validated. And I know what I know. I feel what I feel. Right. And it's every single month. And I also want to say, before I get into this tool that I have for you, I will never be the queen of PMDD partner quick fixes. I will never be on here telling you that I'm going to transform you in 30 days. I'm never going to have some program for you that's like, stop breaking up with your partner in 30 days. Like, I could literally coin programs that say that. Like, I have the quick fix for you. And that's why I'm doing this episode, because the magic pill, and I'm going to tell you this, and I want you to keep listening. The magic pill is that there is no magic pill, but I'm going to give you a tool that's really going to help you transform your PMDD relationship. But it is one of the tools that I have for you. And if you keep listening to the podcast, if you're my private client, you keep getting private sessions. If you're in the PMDD Partners Breakup Academy, you're getting tools consistently, because being that PMDD messes with our brain, like the brain fog, the intrusive thoughts, everything. We are literally having to rewire our brain to have different reactions from what we have when PMDD initially bum rushes us. And that's what it is. This is not a one-stop shop. And I know that, and from what I've heard from my private clients, I could be a millionaire if I said, oh, I'm advertising for a one-stop shop. But I'm very authentic in a way that if someone did that to me, I know when I was desperate enough to find a solution, I would have done anything. I would have took out a loan. I would have borrowed from friends and family. I would have been like, I will find the money if I really believe that this is what it's going to take to cure my PMDD from stopping me to have these horrible things in my relationship. I would have. But what I want to tell you is what I offer you. And if you listen to me long enough, and even if you haven't listened to me for a long time, you listen back to the podcast, everything is situational and everything happens over time. And it's rinse and repeat. It's using the tools again and again and again. You're never going to use one of my tools and that's it. Like, it's not a one stop and done. And I don't want that. And because it's not realistic. And I will never tell you that I'm going to do that in any of my private clients. That's literally on the consultation. One of the first things that I tell you, this is a process. It is not a one-stop shop. And I know that there are certain people, companies, things that may offer that. And if that's what you want to do, then you can. But I will tell you that my tools work, but it also is a process. And I want to be really honest and real raw and vulnerable with you like I'm about to be right now. So as we go into the tool for this week, which is the magic pill, it's not going to be what you think. So I really suggest you keep listening. So let me tell you what happened. Okay, so I was supposed to be going to this conference, and if you've been listening to me for a long time, when I get into PMDD, I have a very avoidant attachment style, meaning I want space, 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 space when I get into PMDD. And my partner wants me when I get into PMDD. So we go through like that dance every single month, which reminds me of the dance on Wednesday Addams. If you've ever seen the new episode on Netflix, we're in Wednesday when she's dancing, like that's how I feel. With the evil eyes, like we're literally like glaring at each other, like, give me what I need, give me what I need. I'm like, give me my space. And he's like, give me my attention. And I'm like, stop. So, and again, this is only when we're in PMDD. When I'm in my follicular days, I'm in my good days, we both have a secure attachment and we both get everything that we need. So like we have no issue. So anyway, going back to the story. So I was going to go onto this conference that I was speaking at, and I told my PMDD partner about it beforehand. And I said, hey, I'm going to be going to this conference. It's really close to where you are. It was like an hour away, and we're long distance. So I was like, I'm actually going to drive because I honestly needed the time to clear my head. Like I didn't mind when I saw that it was like a 6-hour drive. I was like, fine. Like I don't even need, because I didn't want to go into PMDD and be in the airports around people and triggered. And I didn't want that. That was really going to mess with my vibe and my ability to give at the conference and also gain a lot from it. So silent rides in the car with no one in it is like the thing to do when you're in PMDD. So I was like, cool, I'm going to drive. And I was like, hey, it's an hour away. The conference started on Friday. I'm going to wake up really, really early in the morning and I'm going to start driving there. And then on Saturday, we were supposed to meet. I said, I don't know what the schedule is going to be like because I see lunch and dinner. It was like a full day, but I was like, I'm going to see if maybe lunch is on your own or dinner or all these things because it was completely women. So I was like, I'll let you know when I get there. And the night before, he was like, yeah, cool. And then I wake up Friday, I get all the way there. I'm driving. We're texting while I'm driving. Everything's great. And then I had planned a massage before I was going to the conference to speak because massages relaxed me. I really needed to clear my head. I was really sore from being in the car that long. It was raining, foggy, all the things. I don't know what was happening in LA. Like, I don't know, the weather has been so weird lately, but it was literally like rain, fog, and I literally saw snow on top of the mountains. And I'm like, of course. So he agreed, like, oh yeah, I'll see you Saturday. And so I figured Friday I would go there, I would get settled, I would have my massage, I would have dinner first, and then I would go to the conference. It was going to be for 4 hours for the first day, all the things. He calls me an hour before and he was like, oh, I got off of work early. I think I want to see you, today. And I was like, so what do you call it? Taken aback. I was like, wait a minute. I was like, wait, we talked about this the day before. Like, what are you talking about? And in that scenario, when I'm really stressed and I'm really overwhelmed, I really am not in a place where I want to change anything up. Like if you got into your PMDD days and you really just want to be really focused and intentional, like like, I call it autopilot, where you need this, and this done. And you really want to be able to stay focused on that. And I was in the zone, and I was like, all right, got this done. I need to get this done, blah, blah. And he's like, I want to come see you today. And I was like, why would you do this to me? Like, why would you switch things up at a time where I've been communicating to you how frustrated I am, how stressed and overwhelmed I am with trying to get everything done. And now you're wanting me to delay something. So what I was going to have to take away was my massage. Because if he was going to come, because he was saying something like, it sounded good, but it's like when you know your partner, like that's not the case. Like when they say something and you're like, yeah, that's not really what's going to happen. Because basically what he was saying was, I can just come there and be in the hotel. And I'll be fine while you're at the conference. I'll be fine while you're doing what you can keep doing your thing, and I'll be fine. And I was like, really? Because when my PMDD partner comes, he genuinely wants a lot of attention, a lot of affection. He wants my full directions to be on him. And I knew that with me having the conference that was going to last like all night, and he doesn't stay up late, like that was going to be a thing. I was like, there's going to be some kind of tension, because it's going to be like, oh, well, I thought you were going to leave early, or I thought, like, there's going to be this pressure and expectation. And I was avoiding that, because I was like, let me get through this conference, and then like we can spend time together or whatever. And that's when he said that, I literally went from being calm and loving to completely triggered, because I was stressed, I was overwhelmed, I was sleep deprived, and I felt like it was a lack of respect for my time. It was very manipulative. And let me tell you why it was manipulative, because as soon as I said, oh my gosh, like, why would you do this to me? He was like, what's wrong with me coming? I'm not that bad. Da, 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 da. And then he was like, well, if you're not wanting me to come to the hotel tonight while you're at the car, like, who are you there with? Pause, pause, pause. That is a trigger for me. Attacking my character, which I felt like that was. Like, why are you questioning my character? Now you're assuming that I'm a, cheating whore that is sitting at this hotel at a conference that is supposed to help people, like, and now I have someone coming to my room because I don't want you to, like, me. And so I was very offended. Like that flips me upside down. It takes me from the nice, soft, loving, like, oh, like, this is what I have going on, to like, defensive mode, not just defensive, but it was turned completely off. And I was like, I can't believe you're accusing me of this. Like, this is what we always go back to. And I will tell you that your partner's defense mechanisms are pretty much always going to be the same, and it's going to be based off of their past trauma. So the past trauma that my PMDD partner has is that he's been cheated on. And I've been cheated on too. I don't know. I think I just take it with a grain of salt, because I've had so many traumatic things happen in past relationships that cheating was probably the lesser of the evils. But the way he responded to the cheating is that it made him really jealous. It made him really insecure when you get really vague and you get avoidant. Like when I start to pull away, when I get into PMDD, that triggers him to be very, insecure because of what he dealt with in his past. So again, I know this about my partner, and I would say know things about your PMDD partner so you can really understand the traumatic responses that they have when you get into arguments. Because for him, it's always the same. Who you got there? What are you doing? Blah, blah. And even though there's never been an issue of infidelity in our relationship ever, that's always his go-to. And I know that that's his traumatic response. And so I was completely like, okay, I thought about this. I'm like, you were wanting basically my attention, love, affection, all the things. And now that you've triggered me in a way that you've offended me, you've attacked my character, you know that this is not the way to get closer to me, you're not going to get any of that. Like for the next 48 hours, I was planning. That's what I thought that night. I was like, sometimes I feel like our PMDD partners want something from us, but then they do things that prevent them from getting it. It's like an oxymoron. Like, if you want me to be more loving, more affectionate, more like this, then why are you triggering me? Because I'm going to do the opposite of that. Like, it's very weird that they don't get that. And I try to, explain that to my private clients when I customize their sessions. I'm like, hey, by the way, I'm going to use a pseudonym, which is a fake name. I'm going to say, Barbara doesn't like when you do this. So if you want to get love, affection, attention, which is pretty much love, affection, attention, validation, and support are pretty much the 5 things that all PMDD partners want. But I would say if you want this, by doing this, you're not going to get that. So like, you should probably stop. Like, your method is not working. And that's what happens so much with my private clients is they're using the same method that is consistently not worked. And they're still expecting it to work. It's like insanity. And so when my partner went back to that, I was like, oh, okay, here we go. Like, it's like a rabbit hole. Like, I already knew. I'm like, okay. So what did I do? I canceled my massage because the worst thing, what I hate doing is being in a massage, being in a relaxing environment. And then I'm literally doing the opposite. Like, there's been so many times where I've been deep in PMDD and I've had so many things happen, and I was planning on getting a massage or planning on doing something relaxing, and I completely cancel it because I've been in situations where I tried to do it and it just didn't work. I'm like, this isn't working. So I canceled the massage. I went to the conference. The conference was amazing. And so it gave me like a momentarily like, oh, like I was in a better mood because I'd been through 4 hours of positive energy and pouring into people and seeing their transformations and all the things. And I texted him when I got back and I was like, the conference was amazing. I sent him a little video clip so he can see that I'm not like philandering around or whatever it is that he was thinking I was doing. So I sent the video. And then he just did the little, you know, if you have the iPhone, or we use WhatsApp, but there's a way you can tap it so where you like love it, like it's a post on Facebook or something. So he did that with a picture. And then he woke up the next morning and he was more on the loving side, like, good morning, love, like blah, blah, blah. And I kind of went back into my place of being re-triggered. Like, I don't know if you've ever done this. Like, you felt like you had a moment, like a high moment. And then you think about what happened and you're back in that trigger spot again. So that's what happened. And then he was like, how's your morning going? And I told him I was having coffee. I was having breakfast, getting ready for the next sessions, which just started. The sessions were literally from 8:30 in the morning all the way to 9 o'clock at night. So my day was going to be packed. And I was pretty much like, oh, my day's going good. And I knew that he was just waiting at his house to like, for me to tell him that he could come see me. He was like, when are your sessions going to be done? And I was like, 9 p.m. And he's like, oh, okay. But he had done everything that he needs to do. He packed for his trip, all the things. So he was just waiting. And I could tell that the more I was telling him that everything was going great, he was like, okay, cool. But like, he wanted to spend time with me. So, I ended up getting to all the way through the day. And then I got to the last session, or the next to the last session, which was like at 5. It ended at 5 and you're supposed to go to dinner. You come back at 6:30 and then have the last session, which ended at 9. Sorry, I hiccuped. Something, because of how positive everything was, and because I know that for the next month, my PMDD partner was going to be on a work trip for a month and a half, and I could sense this like neediness, clinginess, this like need to be with me, but not like in an annoying way, because I had been in such a positive environment that I was seeing it through fresh eyes in a way that I said, you know what? I won't go to the last session, which was a sacrifice for me, because the last speaker was the one that I originally came for. Like, I wanted to see her so bad. I had never seen her speak, but I was like, oh my gosh, like, I can't believe I'm going to miss this. But I also know that my PMDD partner doesn't stay up late. Like, he goes basically, if he would have came at 9 o'clock, he would have been asleep by like 9:30, because he goes to sleep really early and he wakes up really early. Like, he wakes up at 3:30 in the morning, and that's because he goes to sleep at like 8 o'clock, 9 o'clock at night. So me, I'm more of a night owl or whatever. So I said, you know what? I'm going to skip my last session so we can have dinner together or spend time together, blah, blah. So he was so excited, and literally his text went from okay to like, yay, I'll be there. And so he, literally came there, and we got in the hotel room, and I was like, what do you want to do? And we went and had, we were going to have dinner, but I said that I wanted to have a session with him first, and he already knows what that is. And what that means is we're going to have a PMDD Partners session, which is just like I do with my private clients. And they don't take longer than an hour where we get everything out. We work through every issue. I use the tools that I know work and we get through it. And what I did was in that session, I used the tools for what we were specifically going through. And what those tools basically were was me understanding. No, first he understood where I had a chance to explain my point of view, because what I've learned as we've gone on in our PMDD relationship, what I see is not what he sees. And it's so mind boggling because we're so convicted with what we see that we can't imagine our PMDD partner like seeing something different. But he gives me the time to explain in detail what it is that I saw about the situation. And then before he explains his point or defends himself, he was literally like, yeah, I see how that was selfish. I was basically putting my needs above yours because I really wanted to see you, and I should have been more considerate of your time because I knew that you were stressed. I knew that you were overwhelmed, but all I was thinking about was I want to spend time with my partner, blah, blah, blah. So he was saying that. So by him admitting that he was understanding of why I was upset, why I was triggered, then apologizing for it and telling me that he could have handled it differently, I then saw his situation differently, meaning that, yeah, I understand that you really just wanted to see me, whereas I took your actions as being manipulative and all of these things and rude and disrespectful. You were just literally trying to speed up the time that we were going to spend together, and that was because the urgency was there because you're going to be gone for a month and a half. So you were thinking I could get extra time with you by doing that. And so we ended up having that conversation. He told me, we went through one of our sessions that talked about fears, because I really wanted to get to the depth of what was your fear? Like, why are you fearing not having this time with me? And we really got to the depths of that. And that was so much deeper than just seeing me. But whenever your partner has a strong need to see you, be with you, and they may be feeling something they're wanting you to quench that thirst, to ease that fear. And what we do in our private sessions is we get to the root of what that fear is. Because once you do that, then the person can kind of calm down and be reassured and feel more secure in the relationship. And that's what happened with my PMDD partner, is that he genuinely felt more secure after we had that conversation. So after the session was done, we went out to dinner, we started laughing, we met other couples, we ate good food, we had good drinks, and we ended up, here's the magic PMDD tool for your PMDD relationship. We went back after having that amazing, dinner, and we had the most amazing sex I think we've ever had since the beginning. The beginning when you were just dating and everything. And I can tell you the reason why that happened. The reason why that happened is because all of the barriers were broke down and we were able to be intimate after that. And I will say that when you have a lot of stress, a lot of issues, a lot of trauma, a lot of arguments, past fights, things that you haven't healed, everything seems heavy for you even when you become intimate. And being intimate becomes a chore. Being intimate becomes something that you have to do, not something that you want to do. And it's so heavy. I remember not that long ago where it was kind of like, oh, you want to do that? And I'm not saying it's like that for both partners, because one partner can be completely fine with being intimate, and you still haven't worked out an issue. So I will say that normally it's two people in the relationship, and that's one that has no issue being intimate if you haven't worked out the issue, and one that genuinely needs to work everything out before they're intimate. So I really address that when I'm dealing with my private clients, and I give you the tools on how to handle that. So go to my website, www.inlovewithpmdd.com. My 2-month private program is opening up pretty soon. So I would say make sure you go and apply for that, because once that's full, that's full. And that means for 2 months, you get one session with me a week. You get your own day of the week. The sessions are 60 minutes, 60 to 90. I really like to keep it open for what it is that you're dealing with. I'm not one of those individuals, those healers that are like, oh no, it's been 60 minutes. Like, I'm sorry, I don't know what to tell you. But I am like respectful of my other clients' times. But I will say, get a hold of that because that is my most popular offering because it really creates the foundation that you need for your PMDD relationships. And all of my past clients have really kept those tools that they've learned in those 2 months and they've literally rinsed and repeat them again and again and again. So after we had that session and we had that amazing, oh my gosh, I would say love making, not just sex because we were so connected, so in tune. And it's just this release, this, I don't know, something, the serotonin, the endorphins, like all of the things, all of the chemicals, the oxytocin, like from a scientific point of view. Cause I know a lot of you are researching this. Oxytocin is, given to you as a gift when you have an orgasm and you have those amazing intimate moments and it lasts. That's what I've noticed because I'm in PMDD right now and we had that encounter like 2 days ago. And normally I would be in my avoidance state, but I'm not. And I truly believe it's because we were intimate and it was amazing. And there's nothing that I had held in. That's what's most important. If you're holding things in from your partner, you haven't really talked about things, that blocks intimacy. And I always tell my private clients, when they think about, oh, there's things that I want to tell them and I want to say to them, but they don't know. But if you haven't worked it out in some way, meaning you haven't gotten it out, like I have private clients where only one partner talks to me and they're able to get everything out and work through them. That's good. Then when they go back to their partner, they're not carrying that. So intimacy means you need to be free to not be carrying all of those things with you into the bedroom, the couch, the table, the chair, like wherever you, the bathroom, like, I don't know. I don't care where you do it, but I'm saying you need to just be free because when you're withholding something that is going against your PMDD partner, it blocks intimacy and you're wondering why you're not in the mood to have sex. You're not in the mood to kiss. You're not in the mood to hold hands. You're in this really avoidant state. And I know because I have the avoidant attachment and I know that a lot of you, when you get into PMDD, you don't even want to be touched, but the intimacy that you can have even while in PMDD doesn't have to be sex. But I will say that the orgasm is the plug. And by the plug, I mean, it kind of solidifies, like if you had a conversation and you really feel like, oh, we're finally on the same page and blah, blah, you have that sex, you have the orgasm and it's just like the icing on the cake. Like you feel like, oh my gosh, this person knows me, they understand me, they love me, they support me. Like all of those feelings that you're feeling like they're not doing when you're really in tune and you really have that sexual experience, like you're really feeling like, yes, they do. And this is why it's a gift. It is intimacy, sex, it's a gift. And I believe that PMDD partners are not taking advantage of it as much as they should because they're thinking kind of like it's a self-serving thing. I used to think that like, oh yeah, if my partner said, hey, maybe we should just do that, have sex, whatever. I'd be like, oh yeah, how convenient for you because you can get what you need while I'm over here suffering, while I'm have the night sweats, while I'm whatever. But it softens me. It softens me in a way that I almost can't describe. And I don't always, and I will say this in like I hope you get it, but in the beginning, it's kind of like a workout, actually. This is how I can explain it. I do my morning routine. I tell you, if you follow me on Instagram, which you need to be following me on Instagram every single day. Even if you can't watch it like at the time that you think you're supposed to watch it every single day. My Instagram stories. In Love with PMDD on Instagram so that you can see the routine that I do, everything that I go through. Like this podcast is just a small chunk of that, but like follow me on Instagram and you'll see the routine that I do. And part of my morning routine is moving my body. And I don't always feel like it in the beginning. Matter of fact, I'm on day 2 of PMDD and I 100,000.25777% did not feel like doing it today. But I felt amazing afterwards, and I literally only did a 40 minute workout today because I was crunched for time, and it released some endorphins for me that lasted me a very long time. And I will tell you that a lot of things, a lot of tools that I use, a lot of tools that I give my PMDD partners while they're in PMDD, they don't always like. Matter of fact, the majority of the time they don't like. When they're starting, they like the results. They love the results because they're like, oh my gosh, I can't believe doing this thing, like produce this results. But like, it's always the getting started part. So even after you get into that habit of doing it, you're going to start to feel good about it, because when you start using these tools, you're going to feel confident in your PMDD relationship. Like, I'm not just watching my relationship go down the drain. Like, I'm actually like doing something about it, and that's going to make you feel good about yourself. So what I want to tell you is intimacy, whatever that looks like for you, is the magic pill for your PMDD relationship, because it takes you so far away from those PMDD breakups. You are never going to break up with your PMDD partner when you're deep in intimacy. You are never going to break up with your PMDD partner when you're deep in intimacy. That's not the thing. What happens when you feel like you want to break up with your PMDD partner is when you're far away, you're distant, there is a wall up. That's when you feel like you're going to break up with your PMDD partner, because you feel like you're not connected enough to feel like you have to be with this person. And for me, the intimacy, and it looks different for me all the time, but I don't know. And maybe because I'm still in the oxytocin cloud right now, where I'm feeling, and granted, my PMDD partner's on his work trip. I haven't seen him in 24, almost 36 hours, like almost 2 days, but I'm still feeling the remnants of the orgasm I had, the connection I had, the kissing I had, the feelings to my body, like him touching me. Like, I still feel fulfilled by that. And I really believe that's the key to me not being avoidant right now, because I normally in this stage, day 2 especially, like, I'm so stressed and overwhelmed. Like, I'm pretty much like, I don't want anything to do with you, blah, blah. But I'm feeling like I wish he was here so we can like do it again, honestly, because it was freaking amazing. And I believe it's freaking amazing because of the work that we've done on the issues that we have with us and just internally with us. Like, we're getting closer by working close together emotionally. And when you emotionally connect with like dealing with your issues, being really open, talking about your fears, all the things, that translates into the bedroom. And I just feel like some PMDD partners are not taking advantage of the gift that is ready for them. And I want you to stop thinking about sex as something that your PMDD partner is taking from you. And I want you to reframe your mind into believing that sex is something that your PMDD partner is giving you. They're trying to give you a gift of an orgasm, of oxytocin, of whatever chemical. So if I told you that the magic pill for your PMDD relationship is oxytocin, and you'd be like, oh my gosh, where do I get that? I'm going to order it on Amazon. I'm going to go to your website. I'm going to go get it. And I said, I don't have it. Amazon doesn't have it. Your partner has it. Go be intimate. And then they're like, oh, no, I don't feel like it. No, I thought it was something else. Well, then how bad do you want it? How bad do you want it? Like, if I give you the tools and you tell me, oh, I don't feel like doing what it takes to get it, then you don't really want it. But it's mind-boggling to me how PMDD partners are willing to spend hundreds of thousands of dollars on quick fixes, things that people are offering that may or may not work. And I'm literally telling you something that will work that is within your PMDD partner that is actually going to make them feel better too. So it's like a 2-for-1. So I want you to try it. I want you to try it. And like I said, intimacy, whatever that means for you. But if you were me and I was you and all the things, I would go for the orgasm. I would go for the sex, because I remember in the beginning of my relationship where it wasn't even a question as to whether we were going to have sex or not. It was genuinely not a question. And I felt so in tune, so connected. Yeah, we had disagreements, but I was just like, it's fine. And not that I was overlooking the things, but it helped me deal with the hard things about my partner more. And your partner will be so much more supportive, understanding, leaning in. Like, what can I do? Let me tell you what my PMDD partner did after that. We've been married for a minute, and he literally was like, the next day, was like, let's get your ring upgraded. Like, let's upgrade your wedding ring or whatever. I was like, what? He's like, yeah. I just think that you deserve it, blah, blah. I'm sorry, what? Like, you're going to get me a whole nother wedding ring because he was feeling secure. It wasn't about the ejaculation. It wasn't about that. And for all my same-sex partners, it's not about the orgasm. It's about them feeling secure and loved and safe. And the oxytocin that happens during sex, the endorphins, all the things. Even if you have PMDD rage, I've had amazing makeup sex with my PMDD partner during PMDD rage. Explosive. But I would rather do that. Here's what I say. I would rather have passionate, amazing sex while I'm in PMDD rage with my partner than to say hurtful, damaging words to them and live with the PMDD guilt the next day. That guilt, that shame, that thinking, oh, this isn't me. Oh, I shouldn't have said that, like all that. Because your PMDD partner has probably heard you say that multiple times before. And they're like, okay, I get it. You're saying it's not you. But it hurts. The crap hurts. And so if I had PMDD rage and I was feeling whatever, I would rather take a moment to myself and then come back and have sex and reconnect, make love, be intimate. Even if intimate means you're laying on the couch watching Netflix, you're playing pool. I have clients that they play Monopoly. It's like their thing is board games. And like when they're not in a good space, they don't play the board games. But when they're in a good space, they play the board games. So I'm not telling you what your intimacy should look like. So don't block this tool off because you're like, I'm not having sex, so I guess this tool isn't going to work for me. No, you pick a way that you can be intimate with your partner and you do that. Stop limiting it to sex. But sex is amazing, and anybody who says it's not, I beg to differ. And I bet you beg to differ because that's one of the things that drew you to your PMDD partner, whether you want to admit it or not. In the beginning, you had amazing sex. And if you don't want to think about that right now, you can pretend like that never happened. But I know that it did, because that's one of the things that connect us the most and make us want to like dedicate our lives to each other because we're that connected. And it just makes everything else that we do more solidified. So it is a part of the big picture of intimacy and being with your PMDD partner. Intimacy, into me, I see. That's what it means. Into me, I see. Intimacy. So this is your magic PMDD tool for your PMDD relationship. I challenge you to take advantage of it. And if it works for you, I want you to DM me on Instagram. I spend 3 to 4 hours on Instagram daily talking to PMDD partners. I am going to be opening up to 2 more platforms, which is mind-boggling to me, but I'm going to be doing that just to reach more PMDD partners. But if you're not messaging me, you can, because I'm on there anyway, talking to PMDD partners. And I know a lot of you are surprised. You're like, oh my gosh, you answered me immediately, because I'm here. And once you're my private client, you get my private email, so I communicate with you there. But yes, use this PMDD magic pill for your PMDD relationship. Let me know how it goes. We got this. I hope this PMDD episode helped you and your partner in your struggles within your relationship. And if this is something that you know that you need help with and you need further support, individualized support, make sure you're going to inlovewithpmdd.com and you're getting those private sessions to really work through what you're going through in your relationship, specifically in regards to PMDD. And also, I want you to leave a 5-star written review on Apple Podcasts. What this does is it helps other PMDD sufferers and partners find this show that can help them get these free PMDD relationship tools. I remember what it felt like to not know that there were tools out there specifically for PMDD relationships. So I want to make sure that you are sharing these tools with others, share them on your social media, share them with people that you know that are also struggling in their PMDD relationships. Until next episode, this is Dr. Rose, your PMDD relationship psychotraumatologist. One more thing, I almost forgot. I now have the Fresh Start PMDD Partners workbook. What this workbook can do is if you've had past traumatic experiences with your partner, past fights, past arguments, and they keep coming up every single month in PMDD, I created a Fresh Start workbook so that you can deal with all of the traumatic experiences that have happened in the past in PMDD rage and all of these things so you can stop going through the same cycle again and again and again. So get that workbook. It comes with a video episode of the actual podcast that I recorded on getting a fresh start in your PMDD relationship. So you're not continuing the same cycle again and again and again. So make sure that you get that workbook. And if you need those individualized counseling sessions, you know where to go, inlovewithpmdd.com. Until next time, we got this. Love you.